Have you been dreaming of moving to Portugal from the US or any other country in a similar time zone, but there's just one thing holding you back, and that is working American hours here in Portugal? Well, you're not alone. That is a valid concern for a lot of folks considering the migration across the Atlantic. If your job expects you to work the same hours here in Portugal, how are you supposed to manage working the nighttime shift, especially with a family with young kids, and manage your brain power to produce quality work late at night? These are the kinds of questions I've been getting from subscribers. So on today's video, we're gonna cover everything from my day in the life, how I manage my energy, my family life, all while working the opposite schedule of everyone around me. You see, I've been working the American schedule here in Portugal for over 3 years now. And at first, I loved it. But now with 2 babies, including a newborn, the game of time management has changed. So in this video, we're gonna go into a day in the life, plus I'll show you some strategies that'll hopefully make your life abroad a whole lot easier, less scary, and maybe even make you enjoy the nighttime schedule. So let's get into it. Hi everyone, and welcome back to our channel, Nations Without Borders. My name is Eric, and together with my wife Josine, our toddler, and our 1.5-month-old son, we are the Nation family. On this channel, we talk about expat life here in Portugal, remote work, family travel. So if this kind of content resonates with you, please do us a favor and subscribe to the channel. That way our future videos will show up in your feed, and also don't forget to like the video. It doesn't cost you anything, and it really helps our videos reach more traveling families out there. Today we'll be discussing how you can live in Portugal while working US hours, or any other country with similar hours such as Canada, Mexico, wherever your job is. For the past 3.5 years while living in Portugal, I've worked for a company based in my home state of Arizona in the US. They're on Mountain Standard Time, and right now that is 7 hours behind Portugal. And I actually do mirror the same hours as the company I work with. So people ask me, how am I managing that while having a family and kids? Because I'm working 4 o'clock in the afternoon till midnight. In this video, I'm gonna share my experience over the past 3.5 years of doing it. Everything from how I structure my day, how do we manage dinner time and putting the kids to bed, the pros and cons, and hopefully how we can make it work for your family. So if this is what's been blocking you from submitting that visa application and moving forward, hopefully we can put those concerns to rest with this video. So let's get into it. Let's start with the mornings, because these days my mornings are a bit different, but before we became parents, our mornings were super chill. We would wake up without an alarm, which is like the best feeling in the world. And then after that, we would meditate or stretch, and then I would go to the gym or go surf. Not being rushed in the mornings is just the best. And when you work the US hours from Portugal, you have that ability. Like, you don't have any Slack meetings, there's no one to reply to, you don't have to wake up early and start work. But now that we have kids, including a recent newborn, our mornings are not so chill these days. Since I don't get to bed till midnight or 1 a.m. because of my work schedule, that usually means I need to sleep until at least 7 or 8 a.m. And this doesn't give us a lot of time to ourselves in the morning anymore. We need to wake up, we need to get our daughter ready for daycare, and at the same time, baby Max is demanding milk from mom. So we're both working together, taking care of one, and the other one's taking care of the other. Now, from all the parent productivity gurus and influencers I see out there, the claim is that you should be waking up super early if you want to get your time back. So they're saying wake up at 4, 5 a.m., whatever. That way you have time to exercise, read a book, do whatever your personal hobby is. But with my schedule, that's just simply not possible. I don't know about you, but I need at least 6 or 7 hours of sleep. I'm not a vampire. But if you are one of those parents out there who have their morning routine dialed, especially if you're working US hours and living in Europe, please drop a comment down below. Give us some pro tips on what you're doing. So you might ask, well, what is our strategy? Well, usually Josine tries to wake up earlier since she can go to bed earlier to get everything ready to start the day. And then by the time the babies wake up, I'm usually awake. So I'll go downstairs and I'll usually take care of Max while Josine gets Nora ready for bed and makes breakfast, or vice versa. And then after that, I will take Nora to daycare, and then I'm off to either the gym or to go surf. Now, I absolutely love going to the gym and or surfing. It's one of my favorite parts of the day, and it's a crucial part of my routine. And so while I'm out at the gym or surfing, Josine is staying home and spending the mornings with Max. and that is until our nanny comes in the afternoon, and our nanny works for most of the afternoon. We'll talk more about nannies later in the video because, in my opinion, this is a key strategy to maintaining a sustainable and healthy routine. So if you are someone who likes starting their day slowly and having chill mornings all to yourself, and you don't have kids, or you like doing your personal tasks in the first half of the day and you don't mind working later, then you will absolutely thrive in Portugal while working US hours. All right, let's move on to the afternoon. After I get done with my morning routine at the gym, then I get back to the house and I cook lunch, and it is around this time that our nanny will arrive at the house to take care of baby Max. Our nanny comes for about 5 hours of the day, and this is a key way that we make our days manageable. This allows free time for Mama Josine to work on her side projects, or have some me time, or just have some time to herself, or catch up on housework. So this is absolutely key, is getting a nanny, and we're very thankful and grateful that we found a great one. And since I don't work till 4:00 p.m., this even gives me a few extra hours to work on side projects, take Portuguese lessons, or work on this YouTube channel, because it takes a lot of work. Now by the time 4:00 rolls around, I am starting work, and Josine will usually go pick up Nora around that time. Now, I'm the one who usually cooks dinner in this household, so I usually try and take my lunch break from work around 5:30, 6:00 p.m. so I can work on starting to cook dinner. There are times when work meetings do conflict with our dinner time, so in those instances, Josine will pick up the slack and she'll be the one cooking dinner that night. But luckily, I have a super cool manager who is flexible and tries not to schedule meetings around my dinner time, so I'm super fortunate in that regard. Now, if you are someone who does not have a cool and flexible manager and they're more strict with your meetings, then there are other solutions. Either your spouse will have to be the one cooking dinner, or you do some meal prepping earlier in the week, that way dinners are taken care of, or you just order meals. So there are multiple solutions to work around this time. And our nanny is working till 6:30 p.m., which is actually a huge help, because once Nora gets home from daycare, she's a toddler, she's demanding a lot of attention. Since we have the newborn around, she also gets a bit jealous that mom and myself are not giving her enough attention. So around this time when Nora gets home, nanny's taking care of Max, and then me and Josine get to spend some time with Nora, which is fantastic. Now, the next challenge that we've been recently trying to work out since we have our baby Max is, how are we going to deal with the bedtime routine, putting them to bed? Because with one parent trying to put a toddler to bed and get a baby to sleep, I'm sure you can see how that would have its challenges. Usually newborns are pretty attached, and usually putting a toddler to bed can take anywhere from 10 to 30 minutes depending on how many bedtime stories they want you to read. So for this was a bit concerning for us. We were like, how are we going to do this? Because I'm the one that cooks dinner, and if I do dinner, we eat, and I'm helping put one of them down to bed, that's going to be like a very long lunch break and just not really feasible. So we were trying to problem solve around this. What we've been doing, it's actually not as bad as we thought. Max has been able to go to sleep around that time, and Josine's usually able to put Nora to bed while the baby is sleeping, and then I can go right back to work after dinner. Now, there are some times where the baby will wake up, and then I'll take a quick break and go take care of him. But yeah, it's actually not as bad as we thought. Now, there are other solutions to this. I could probably just start work an hour earlier, and that way I could take a 2-hour lunch break, but that also gets complicated with meetings. So you kind of just have to adapt and see what works best for you, but there are solutions. Now let's go over some of the frequently asked questions that I get from subscribers, as well as the pros and cons, because this schedule is definitely not all sunshine and rainbows. For example, your social life is going to take a little bit of a hit since you're working evenings on Friday nights. Those are usually out of the question unless you have a flexible schedule and you have an arrangement with your manager, which luckily I do. My manager is super cool. So if we ever want to go out on a date night on Friday night, or if I want to go catch a show with friends, or if I have friends in town, usually they're pretty flexible. I just work the early shift and start later in the day, but as long as I'm not abusing it and doing that, every Friday. So hopefully you have the same, but if not, yeah, you're going to be missing out on Friday nights, which can make it hard to also integrate with the locals, because most Portuguese people are working a regular 9 to 5, and it is already hard to kind of get in with the locals and get into their friend circle, or for them to allow you in. It takes time, and you have to constantly put in the effort, to build those relationships. And so if you're working the evenings and you're always on the opposite schedule, that leaves you with weekends. So that can be pretty tough. And that also leads you to kind of sometimes time, staying more in your expat bubble because a lot of the expats are also working that same schedule. And another con is if you are a morning person, in which usually traditionally I actually am, I prefer to wake up early and seize the day and take advantage of the mornings, but here I just can't do that. Like, unless you're someone who can operate on like 4 or 5 hours of sleep, unfortunately I can't. So that's another con. Let's see, what else? Obviously, if you have a family and you have multiple babies, toddlers, and you're trying to, like I said earlier in the video, cook dinner, put them down to bed, that can be challenging if you're working the nighttime schedule, especially if both parents have to work and you're both working American hours, then you're gonna need a nanny for more hours in the day. But we'll get to nannies in a second. Now, here are some of the pros about working this nighttime schedule, like we've already talked about, but one big one is when you have friends and family come to visit, and if they're gonna stay around with you for like a week or two, and they wanna do all the touristy things, you're actually gonna be able to join them during the week. You don't have to limit it to just weekends, unless you wanna take vacation time, which obviously you should, but if you're limited on vacation time, like a lot of us Americans are, unfortunately, then you at least have the mornings and the first half of the day to go do all those activities with them, and that's great. My mom and brother recently came, and every day I was able to go out and do something with them. Let's see, some of the other pros I have written down is the small things like going grocery store shopping. The grocery stores here are usually packed on the weekends, but if you go during the week, during off hours, it's super chill. Small, but you know, all the small things add up. If you're someone who really likes to surf, that's gonna be a huge hack for you, because if you don't have to work in the mornings, you can go surf in the mornings, which is absolutely incredible. So if you're a surfer, absolutely life hack. Also, another one is productivity. I feel like I get so much more done when I'm living here in Europe and working American hours, and that's because I get those few extra hours during the day to work on side projects, study Portuguese, work on this YouTube channel. Otherwise, when I'm in the US and I'm working a normal schedule from 9 to 5, I have to wake up super early if I want to get to the gym, because I don't like to go to the gym at night, really. And then after you get done with work, you're getting off at 5 or 6. Are you really gonna take the extra nighttime hours to go work on a side project because you're already tired? It's just a different mentality, especially if you have kids. So working in this schedule kind of gives me like a productivity hack, I feel like, and I absolutely love that about that. All right, so now let's get into talking more about nannies, because we get a lot of questions about this. How much does a nanny cost? Because over in the United States, childcare is expensive. If you're having a nanny come to your house, you can expect to spend anywhere between $20 USD on the low end, all the way up to like $40. Over here, having a nanny is a crucial part of our strategy for managing our days. We have a nanny that comes for about 5 hours a day, Monday through Friday, and this is a huge lifesaver because it allows Mama Josine to have her me time, catch up on housework, she can meditate, she can read a book, she can go work on her projects, work on the YouTube channel and help me out. So it's absolutely crucial for her mental health as well. Moms need their own time as well, because if we didn't have a nanny, then I would be needing to step up and spend more time, you know, taking turns, taking care of the newborn. That way Josine would have her me time, and then obviously I would be compromising on all the things that I do. So if you can afford it, I highly recommend getting a nanny while you're here. And the cost for a nanny in Portugal can range anywhere from 7 euros an hour to 12 euros an hour on the high side. So compared to United States prices, that's obviously way cheaper. And we are very grateful and thankful that we can afford that. And we've been able to have some amazing nannies. And the one that we currently found is also doing an incredible job. So if you're watching this, thank you. So that about wraps up what a day in our life looks like as a family of 4 with one parent working US hours, a toddler, and a newborn. Working American hours in Portugal isn't easy, but it's doable. It's all about intentional design around your days. When you plan your mornings, you structure your evenings, and you stay flexible with your family, you can actually make this lifestyle work for you. For us, the trade-off, it's worth it. We get to raise our kids in a peaceful, family-oriented country, enjoy our mornings, and still stay connected to our work in the US. Because living abroad isn't about perfection. It's about building a lifestyle that fits your values. Hopefully this video has shown you that it is possible to live in Portugal while working US hours, if that's what your employer or clients require. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. We appreciate you. And if you found this video helpful or insightful, please do us a favor and subscribe to our channel. It doesn't cost you anything, and like this video so our content can reach more traveling families out there. Again, thank you for watching, and remember, explore life beyond borders. Adios, ciao, dui, teja. See you next time.